A love beyond time. In the bustling city of New York, Sophie worked as a curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Her life revolved around history, artifacts, and the beauty of stories told through art. Despite her passion for her job, Sophie felt a void in her life. She had always dreamed of experiencing a love story as timeless as the art she curated. One day, while cataloging a collection of 19th century artifacts, Sophie stumbled upon an old, ornate pocket watch. It was intricately designed, with an engraving on the back that read, "To my dearest Evelyn, love transcends time." The watch seemed ordinary at first glance, but when Sophie opened it, she noticed something unusual, a faint ticking sound, even though the hands didn't move. Intrigued, she decided to take it to a horologist. The horologist, an elderly man named Mr. Grayson, examined the watch with great care. After a long silence, he said, "This is no ordinary watch. It's said to have belonged to a man named Henry Whittaker, a brilliant inventor who disappeared mysteriously in 1875. Legend has it that this watch holds a secret, a connection to his lost love, Evelyn." Sophie's curiosity grew. That night, she brought the watch home and placed it on her nightstand. As she drifted off to sleep, the ticking grew louder, and a strange light emanated from the watch. Before she could react, she felt herself being pulled into a vortex. When Sophie opened her eyes, she found herself in a quaint 19th century village. The air smelled of fresh bread, and the streets were alive with horse-drawn carriages and vendors selling their wares. Confused and disoriented, she clutched the watch tightly. A man approached her, dressed in a finely tailored suit. "Miss, are you lost?" he asked with genuine concern. I think so," Sophie stammered. "I'm Henry Whittaker." He introduced himself. Sophie's heart skipped a beat. This was the man from the legend. Over the next few days, Sophie and Henry grew close. She learned that Henry was a kind-hearted inventor who had created the watch as a gift for his fiancée, Evelyn. However, Evelyn had tragically passed away before he could give it to her. Heartbroken, Henry had dedicated his life to perfecting the watch, believing it could bridge the gap between the past and the present. Sophie decided to help Henry complete his invention. As they worked together, she found herself falling for him. But she knew she didn't belong in his time. The watch had brought her here for a reason, and she needed to find out why. One evening, as they sat under a starry sky, Henry confessed, "Sophie, I feel as though I've known you forever. Your presence has brought light back into my life." Sophie's heart ached. She wanted to tell him the truth, but she feared it would break his heart. Instead, she said, "Sometimes, love finds us in the most unexpected ways." The next morning, Sophie discovered a letter on her bedside table. It was from Henry. In it, he revealed that he had discovered the watch's true power. It could return her to her time. "But if you leave," he wrote, "promise me you'll never forget me." With a heavy heart, Sophie activated the watch. As the vortex pulled her back, she caught one last glimpse of Henry, standing in his workshop, tears in his eyes. Sophie woke up in her apartment, clutching the watch. It was still ticking, but this time, the hands were moving. She felt an overwhelming sense of loss, but also gratitude for the time she had spent with Henry. Determined to honor his memory, Sophie curated a special exhibit at the museum titled Love Beyond Time. It featured the pocket watch and a collection of letters Henry had written to Evelyn. The exhibit became a sensation, touching the hearts of everyone who visited. One day, as Sophie was giving a tour of the exhibit, a man approached her. He looked strikingly familiar. "Excuse me," he said. "I am Henry Whittaker. My family has always been fascinated by this watch. I feel a strange connection to it." Sophie's breath caught. His resemblance to the Henry she had known was uncanny. Could it be a descendant? Or was it fate bringing them together again? Sophie realized that love is not confined by time or space. It is a force that transcends all boundaries, leaving an indelible mark on our hearts. Though she could never return to the past, her time with Henry taught her to cherish every moment and to believe in the power of love. As she and the modern-day Henry began to talk, Sophie felt a spark of hope. Perhaps, in this lifetime, their love story was just beginning.